When I was asked to talk to you about drinking, it made me sit down and do some hard thinking. And how far down this road was I willing to let you and others see how I was living for things that just weren't filling? And I realized all was necessary if you were going to see that Jesus can't be secondary. So I'll start from the Genesis. As I start to walk down a road that is motionless, that is founded by a life that was directionless, that didn't care about God's benevolence and showed no real signs of intelligence. It began at the age of 12, when I wasn't able to see the thing that I held was a thing that could lead me straight to hell. My father slid it over and asked if I wanted. Of course I did, and I quickly became undaunted. I was going to live my life for myself, and then I took another one off the shelf. And walking down the halls of my school, I didn't realize that God had saw me as such a fool, and I agreed to bring drinks for my friends, and we would drink and the fun would never end. But little did I see that God's love for me, and I got caught by a mom who only wanted what was best for me. So I served the time for a foolish crime, and I wish I could say I walked away from this grime, but I didn't. And life to me seemed hazy, and I was only chasing things that made my soul crazy, not knowing that Jesus had paid for us all, and hearing his message of love and how he'd come down to save us from our fall did little for me to place my trust in the Savior who came down and bled and didn't even change my behavior. And I saw it every week. People smoking things, not taking time to think, and rolling green stuff inside of white papers and not realizing that Jesus had died to be their Savior. And beer and liquor and vodka, I saw and started to try it all, and not wanting to see that Jesus had to save me from my fall. I'd like to say that Jesus was my first, or that my Christian life couldn't have got any worse. But when I got to college, all I did was expand my knowledge, and my knowledge of living a life without Christ, a life that was only living things that were full of vice. Partying on the weekends and trying to seek joy that would never end because I failed to see that Jesus was enough for me. And I sought joy from a bottle and trying to live out my desires in full throttle, not seeing that Jesus was greater, only ended up making me a traitor to the love of our God and the blood of our Savior. But along came some true friends who didn't want to see my life end, so I came to a place of help. And on those Monday night meetings with Brent, I saw that I was living my life without God's consent. And I saw my pride in how I was living a lie and that Jesus was my only that's made me cry. And giving my life to Christ and walking according to only his advice was how this man was going to live his life. I wish I could say there was no more failure, but that would neglect my need for a Savior. Love so pure and love so grand. What did I do to fall under such a great command? Knowing God came down from his great land to walk beside me and take my hand is more than this man will ever be able to understand. For he is greater, and there is no one else I will swear my allegiance to than this God of wonder. And I know that Jesus cannot be second, and life without him can only be worthless. So if you're looking for joy out of a bottle, not seeing that Jesus has offered you much more than freedom, I can't help you. But there is a Savior who came down from his place on high, so sinners could walk with him side by side. For he is greater, and I will find my joy in no other than Jesus my Savior.